Namaste and welcome to your practice, yogi. This is a short acupressure and yin practice for calming your body, mind, and nervous system. So we'll be working through a specific pressure point, and we'll be spending a little bit of time on that point. And then we'll be heading down to the mat for a really calming yin pose. I do recommend that you have some blocks handy. You might not necessarily need them for the yin, but I always say have them handy. And for the acupressure portion, I invite you to sit on something. So that might be a bolster like what I'm sitting on, could be your mat rolled up, it might be a bunch of blankets, you might even be sitting up on some blocks. But you want to be able to sit in a position where your spine can be tall, but yet you can feel supported and relaxed. Okay. We're going to begin with the acupressure point stimulation first, and then the yin practice. At any point, feel free to pause the video. If you decide that you need a little bit more time in either the acupressure or the yin pose. And of course, at the end, please feel free to take a shavasana or a relaxation to just further incorporate, amplify, and digest the benefits of this practice. Okay, so let's begin. This point that we're going to be working through is pericardium 8. It's located on the palm of the hand. It's pretty easy to find. So you're just going to take your palm out in front of you. Take your middle finger. You're going to bend it in and press it onto the palm of your hand. Now turn your palm to look at you and see where your finger landed. That's when you're going to take your opposite thumb and you're going to place your thumb in that section, in that point, okay? Then you can kind of just turn your palm to face now upwards, shoulders relaxed. Now, if you prefer not to use your thumb, you can use 2 fingers. You can even use the eraser tip of a pencil if you like, or if you have a small wooden dowel that's soft and circular, nothing pointy or edgy, okay? At this point, if you like, you can close your eyes and start to center into your breath. Press into the point so that you feel enough sensation there, but it's not too intense. And then start to make some small circles as you stimulate this point. Now, sometimes the tendency as we start to focus on the acupressure stimulation is that we kind of forget about the breath. The breath is so important in acupressure. So you want to take some long, slow, deep breaths in and out of the nose. And this point helps to calm the body, the mind, the nervous system. It helps to release stress and anxiety and invoke a sense of peace and tranquility and overall well-being. So keep stimulating and keep continuing to breathe deeply. I'm going to stimulate for about another 30 seconds. Again, as always, you can lengthen this anywhere from 1 to about 5 minutes. You might find upwards of 5 minutes your finger might start to get, or your thumb might start to get a little bit sore or tender. So you can always pause, kind of shake out your hand and then go back in if you need to. But just know we're also going to be doing the other hand, okay? So start to slowly release. Rest both of your palms down onto your lap for a moment and just notice if you feel any sort of energy moving through the body, any sensation, vibration, pulse, movement, warmth. And just know it's okay if you actually don't feel anything yet, especially if you're very new to acupressure. It might take some time for your mind to connect to the body. So just repetition and consistency is really quite important in acupressure. Okay, open the eyes softly for a moment. Now take your other palm, so the right palm, in front of you and bend that second finger in, okay? And wherever that fingertip lands is where you're now going to take either your left thumb or two fingers, or if you're using an instrument, and then start to press in firmly enough that you can feel it a little bit. And then relax those shoulders once again. Sit up tall, close your eyes, and start to make some small circles. Doesn't matter which direction those circles are going in. It's just about the stimulation of the point through movement. And there's no right or wrong here. You can focus the mind on your breath, or you can focus your mind on the sensation of the acupressure point stimulation. I love to do this point when I'm feeling anxious or stressed or overwhelmed or worried. Even when I feel a little bit of fear setting in. And for some reason, I don't know, but when I make the circular motions, if I'm feeling kind of irritated or frustrated, this sort of calms me down too. So it's such a beautiful point to press. Complete one more round. And then let your palms once again rest down into your lap, eyes closed. Just feel into your body for a moment. Notice your breath. Notice anything in your body. It could be really subtle, or it may be obvious. It's okay. The more you tune in, the more you practice, the more awareness you gain here. Take one more breath. Let your eyes softly open. Now again, at this point, if you wanted to repeat that sequence, you can certainly do that again and then come back to the video. We're going to move into the yin pose. So this is where I'm personally going to use blocks because I like to use blocks for myself. We're going to move into tadpole, which is a wide knee child's pose. Now, if for some reason your knees do not like the flexion backwards or the pressure on the mat, you can always take a reclined butterfly. So you would lay on your back, bring the soles of your feet together and open your knees. And you could either sit upright or fold forward, okay? And you can use any props. Now for tadpole, you're going to bring your big toes to touch, open your knees. Now you might be sitting back onto the heels as you fold forward. Some of you that may not be accessible, so you might use a block and sit on the block between your heels. Or sometimes what I like to do is I will layer the blocks in front of me at whatever height that I feel I need to support myself that day. And then I'll just sort of fold inwards onto the blocks. Or if my body is feeling like it, I might just fold completely down to the floor in between my thighs and relax my arms. So choosing what feels best in your body. You want to find something that feels supportive, yet sustainable, where you can breathe deeply and you can focus on letting go. And as you start to settle in for the next 2 minutes, begin to lengthen your breath, begin to find a little bit more depth to your breath. Begin to feel into any sensations, modifying as needed or accordingly, depending on how your body's responding. See if there's anywhere in your body where you still like you feel are holding on, where you can soften into as you take these last few rounds of breath. And take one more deep breath at your own pace. And then as you start to rise up, you'll take a moment to come to a seated position. So that might be sitting up on something. I'm just going to pause here for a moment. Just resting the hands either on the lap or onto the body. Taking a moment, check in. Just notice how you feel here after this short practice. Can you feel that sense of calm wave over your nervous system like silk over your skin? Can you feel the depth of your breath? Can you feel that peace, that safety, that inner knowing that everything is okay? So feel free to repeat this practice anytime you feel like your emotions are out of balance or you're feeling that disconnection emotionally to yourself and you're looking to reconnect. If you need more depth, more support, please feel free to check out my emotional guide called Freedom. It's an emotional acupressure and yin yoga practice where I take you through a number of different acupressure points in a outlined guide with illustrations and descriptions. And then there are several really beautiful yin practices that you can practice that will help to amplify the acupressure that you do. And there's practices for each one of the five primary emotions, as there are the acupressure. So it's just a beautiful way to reconnect to yourself and to experience that freedom in your body and in your mind and in your nervous system. So thank you so much for joining me. I will link all that information for you in the description below. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.